5, new GMP Detox Session, and I want to change it a little bit with more practical advice. And so this is the first session where we will have a different view on different challenges, maybe not problems. So again, what happens if a consultant is showing up at your site and not only saying what you should do, but also giving you hands-on experience, some things that you really have the impression it is worth to have this guy for 2-4 hours on site. And maybe you will have this kind of a wow effect and say, oh, I never thought about that. That is an option, and this is how we could do it. I was thinking about to combine this session with another challenge, maybe regarding computer system validation. You can use that in different ways. Basically, it's a methodology. And what sometimes happens is, what is if the case is just very realistic for validation? You might not have the tools like you will see AdWords on e-validation and all that sort of stuff, and managing requirements with a database and so on. But in 50% of the cases, the people still do not have that, or maybe it's the first time you implement an ERP, MES, LIMS, EDMS system or whatever. So what can we use instead of super complicated, maybe also expensive solutions? And this is what I want to show you today. Just maybe a new idea. There are different variants how you can use that. So if we would look on the implementation of a LIMS system, for example, you might have started with mapping your actual current processes. And especially if you move away from paper to an electronic system, there will be different iterations how to get to the system validation with the topic or with the objective of fit for the intended use. So I can't use something directly out of my projects, but it works very similar. And here, very simplified, a process map, which is provided by Bob McDowell. You see here also the source, the DOI number. It was an article written in October 2024. Can we simplify data process mapping? So at a certain point, you come to the step that you have done your process mapping. You did a kind of a fit gap analysis of your current process and the system that you want to have. You use the process-based FMEA risk analysis to analyze each process step. And if you start to think in a process-driven way, some would call it also critical thinking, then the result of that will be that you create requirements. Requirements, I would call it customer requirements, C requirements, which are not identical with D requirements, development requirements, but on a high level, or in Agile, you would call it user stories or epics. And from that, you go down to development requirements or tasks or actions, or however you call it, development orders. But you did that. You mapped your processes, very important. Don't start to do it the way around, to look on the functions that are provided, then you map your process into your functions. Process first, very important. So process mapping, whatever methodology you will use, swim lane model. I'm a big supporter of the SIPOC analysis, which is very powerful. Sometimes it's a little bit scary because it takes you 3 months, 6 months just to map the processes, especially if you then ask, okay, how do you do that? Yes, we are still missing some SOPs, and some people do it like this and that, and they say that's not easy for a automated workflow engine to be fed by different variants. Anyhow, you did the process mapping, you did the FMEA risk analysis, you did the fit gap analysis, you have a kind of a mapping of requirements and functions. And the time will come that you will need to write a test plan for the user acceptance testing, the unit testing, integration testing, system testing. So functional testing should be done by the supplier according ISB GAM5 second edition. And now you want to verify to test it finally, basically also with your key users and so on. So again, you have this process mapping and you need to write a test plan and a test script. In German, it's called sometimes a test protocol. It doesn't matter. You will see what I want to show you. So you don't have this great, fantastic tools of automatization and so on. So let us think about to use MS Word. Why not? It's an office stuff, and I just delete that quickly so that you see what I'm talking about. Sorry, 1 second. So this is my master template for test scripts. And what I'm now using is, here is a mailing section. Usually you would not think about to use this mailings functions provided by Word for using for validation, but why not? So you have drawn down all your process maps like you have seen it before. You numbered them. You have sub steps below of that. You know which SOP will or must be written or changed and so on. So you have also test instructions. And just here as an example, I write a test section. And then you see here parts are in German. I have not translated that yet, but that works in any language. So if you see here, it's a gray field. So I have uploaded it here with the list, and now I don't use street and name and so on. You can change that. You just create an Excel file with the process numbers, the sub numbers, the roles, the process steps, create a new samples and so on. And then here with the select recipients, you can map this table to your Word template, and the Word template is your test protocol. And you could also edit this list to say, I want to write a test script only for process 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. You can filter that, sort that, you can add additional information and so on. That is very flexible. And again, I don't use that whatever street and town and whatever postal code and country. You can create your own fields. So here you can also say I have process number, the work instruction, if I have referenced the SOP, who will do the testing, and then I have some basic fields like field labels match, mandatory, or if you have default values, input fields, output fields. Here I have not translated that part, the selection of data, the view of data, of list data, for example. Also here, if you delete something, if it's recorded in an audit trail function. So I have a kind of a predefined set of things that I could test or which I would mark as not applicable and so on. I have here the acceptance criteria, pass and fail as a final judgment, and then attachments, the number of screenshots, reports, labels, and others. Okay, if I have this as my basic template, I can do the next thing. I add here fields that I have defined: time, date, process number, tester, and so on. And then you can go through it. Sorry, that was the wrong button. You can here preview the results, create a new sample. You could go to the next step, create correct number of labels, add notes to the labels or whatever your process steps are. And then you just go here to finish, edit individual document. You can define that what you want to have. Usually it's good to have a kind of a directory list. So what happens now? I'm telling Word that it should fetch in all the information that I have from here. So now it takes some seconds. Now I must switch the screen. Sorry, I will do that. Wait a second. And now he's creating this document. And you see here how the number here below page 1 of 136, how this is calculated now, newly. I think I have here 136 test cases. And now I have written, close, I have written a test script based on the input here of 136 pages. It's taking over test instructions like it should be with all the numbers. Who should do that? The analyst should do here some testing and so on, where the data is provided, how it's covered and put into that. And let me check. We go to the end, and that works until approval step 3 of 3, whatever, work instruction, LIMS 04, page 26, blah, blah, blah. So this is creating you a test script. So what happens now if something is changing? Sometimes people say, oh, that's complicated to change things and blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. If you have that as a basis, then you can just here again edit the recipe list for a new test run, or you could say for the first test run we have tested that. For the second test run I just take it out, or I can change that, or I can do a different filter or sorting, whatever. And you see now automatically I just needed now to press again, finish merge. I can give it then the final one, version 2.0 or something like this, write in test run number 2 and so on. So what I want to say is don't spend too much time for thinking, oh, testing is so complicated and so on. It's not. Basically, it's simple. If you try to use some tools which are helpful for you, and you are allowed to use that, right? You will verify that anyhow. So and you will review and you will approve the test script and so on. So this might be of help to create very fast test scripts. When I was in the US for a project years ago, I was told, yeah, it will take you 3 months to create the test scripts. After 3 weeks, I finished it. And I was exactly using this kind of mail merge functionality provided by Word. The customer was really wondering why I was so fast. And the reason was because I was using that. Again, what you need to have a stable basis of your processes, the mapping, the links to test instructions and so on. But from there, it will be very easy. So we are already here with testing. Another thing which is pretty cool, and I hear that also very often, it's so complicated to take screenshots. And now I must say, no, it's not. Again, let me check, where is it? I'm sharing my screen. Okay, that's not easy, but maybe the problem is in front of the, I cannot share it. I will share my screen. And now you see a cool tool, which is called hard copy. You will find it on hardcopy.de, how to do hard copies. And the basic functions are in this tool is always very simple, similar. You have the functions you can define a function for a special key. This is now shown in German, but print or alt print different functions. So you can define if it should take the screen, if it should be sent to a printer. If you don't want to have that, you can save that automatically into JPEG files, and then you put that JPEG files, maybe if you have a web portal or whatever, Confluence or anything like this, you can upload the screenshots from testing into it. I always like this function, no taskbar and insert cursor, because then with the cursor I can show something on the screenshot, and there you see how it looks like. But what is really cool, beside of that settings of the functions, are the options. And the options you can define, you see it here in a kind of a preview. Here you will see the screenshot, and you can always say, okay, ask for request a title, for example. So if I press then the print button, then there's a pop-up window coming up, and I can write in, for example, test case number 1 or 1.5 or whatever. And then it's printed on the screenshot. So if I do testing and I have the printer beside of me, the paper is coming out, I can write in, for example, the test case number before that, or what is also very cool is working with text extensions. You can define that test case, LIMS number, blah, 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 blah. And then always here, the signature, you can also say the date, whatever, day, month, year. So, and then this text is printed out always here on below the screenshot, for example. Yeah, there are a lot of things SAP is using that. You can even insert SAP database field information. There's a print counter, for example, that you can say the individual printouts should be counted, whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And then in your test protocol, you just write in the numbers and so on. Okay, and there are a lot of cool stuff in here. For some companies, it will be super interesting to add the logo on the right or left or whatever. You can then upload a logo, and then you also have the logo on the screenshots. Why not? So pretty cool to take screenshots. So I wanted to show you 2 very cheap and very efficient ways how to create a test script and to do screenshots. So happy testing during your user acceptance testing. And if you don't have the tools for e-validation, or you need to have a combination of whatever, Atlassian, Jira, or Microsoft DevOps, and you get Excel files of test scripts and process steps or data flow sequences into that, think about to use the mail merge functionality. It's pretty cool. It saved me a lot of time when I was showing that during my visits of customers, saying, no problem, don't worry about that. Take care, concentrate on mapping to give me the right input. What are the process steps? What will happen then? What is the default value in this area? What are the problems? What is the risk of entering the wrong data here? You do a weighing and you enter the wrong data into it, or do we need to have an interface that you really concentrate on your process and not on writing test scripts? I have seen that people are writing test scripts basically manually in Word for 3 months. After that, they can operate Microsoft Word properly, but it's not really efficient and it's not really helpful. Okay, I hope you liked that session. Back in 2025, I will continue with some of these. If you have problems, just call me. I could be your consultant at any time. Let me know. We have a lot of cool and fancy stuff where we can support your validation. And Finally, you would say validation is fun, and this is what we want to achieve. Okay, thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye bye.